What is up, everybody? Chris from Midwest. I did it again. Midlife Crisis Media. I knew it was going to be a problem. I knew it. I absolutely knew it. Midlife Crisis Media here with the third of 3 video game collection 2023 live streams, all about my Xbox 360 collection. I didn't do one last week because at the beginning of last week I caught a really bad flu and I was really, really sick. My voice definitely was not in a state where I wanted to talk for an hour and a half on stream. So I canceled that stream and I'm doing it tonight. So let's get into it because this is going to be a little bit of a longer stream than usual because the last 2 streams for this console I've done has been one rack, like one whole shelving unit of the display unit that I have while my Xbox 360 games on. And it's 3 cubby holes worth, and that's like one whole shelf. Each video that I've done so far has been one entire shelf. Well, I have one more shelf to go, plus an extra cubby hole and a little bit more. So this one's going to be covering more than the usual stream for this console. So it's probably not a bad thing. Let's get right into it. Starting off with the game that got me back into, or actually into playing real-time strategy games. I'm a fan of this franchise, and I picked it up when it was like pretty close to when I first got my Xbox 360, and I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't know if I was going to like it at all, but I did get it like used, so it didn't bother me too much because I remember the price was severely discounted from like the usual $50. And that is Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle-earth 2. I don't know where the first one went. Probably a PC game, but I never play PC games, so it was lost on me. But the second one got a port or was exclusive. I don't know. I don't think no, it's not exclusive. Probably just a port from the PC. And it's absolutely fantastic. It is super fun. I did not think I would like a game where you're commanding armies and trying to take out other armies. Not usually my thing. Closest I ever got to anything like this was kind of like Warlocked, I guess, on the Game Boy Color. And I only played that for a little bit before I realized I didn't like that kind of thing. But playing this completely changed my tune on this genre. I became big time into it after this. And I need to go back and play through it. I never actually completed it, but I got pretty damn far. The Lord of the Rings license certainly didn't hurt it. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Next up, we have another Lord of the Rings game, and that is War in the North. I do believe this is an action RPG that just takes place in the world of Lord of the Rings, not really connected to any of the movies. It's just, I think it's like you create a character, you get a party together, and then you RPG it up a little bit. I've never actually played this at any great length, sadly. I remember I picked this up when I got back into collecting, found it really, really cheap, and I was like, oh, cool, I guess I'll get all those Lord of the Rings games. And I've never actually sat down to like devote time into it, sadly, but it has like a really cool metallic cover, which is pretty rad. I'll get into it eventually. I really do want to play it. It looks pretty awesome. Next up, this one is freaking heavy as hell because it has how many? 4 discs? God dang. I think I got this because of Johnny Millennium, Happy Console Gamer, talked about this in one of his, I don't know if it was a collection video or an RPG video or what, but I remember he talked about it. And then like a week later, I went to the disc replay by my work after work one day and found this for like $10. And I was like, oh, I just remember Johnny Millennium talking about that in the video and it sounded pretty cool. I'll snag it. And this definitely is an exclusive for the 360. That is Lost Odyssey. Another RPG. Don't really have time to play a lot of RPGs, but like I said, this case is heavy as hell because of the 4 freaking discs. This game is so damn big. 4 damn discs. I don't think you need to install it to play it, which is kind of awesome. It looks pretty effing fantastic. I really need to sit down at some point and just dedicate the time to it. I have a working 360 now. I have no excuse. The only problem is time, finding the time to do it. Keep on saying this is supposed to be my year of the RPG, and I've not beaten any. I've played a lot of games and beat a lot of games that aren't RPGs. I've started playing a bunch of RPGs and never actually finished them. I should probably get off my butt and do that. I also forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, I think I brought it up in the first video that I did like a few weeks back, excuse me, that my collection for the 360 is very front of the alphabet heavy. Like the first stream was an hour and a half long, and I only got to the D's in the alphabet of my collection. This is the final video, and we're starting in the L's. You'd think we'd be like in the P's or something, but no. Next up we have, so I had this back in the day, and I sold it because I'm a dumbass. And it turned out that this was kind of a hard game to come by, because this gold edition had extra characters that it had a code inside so you can download them. And this is Marvel Ultimate Alliance, the gold edition. It's a dungeon crawl beat 'em up with Marvel characters. And you have like 4 characters in your party at all times. And as you collect new characters, you can swap them in and out of your party depending on what the parameters of that mission you need to go on is. And there's some awesome characters. Like I think one of the additions was Blade and Venom. And you can see some of them on the back. And I had this version of it back in the day, but I sold it because I'm a dum-dum. I played enough of it to the point where I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't feel like playing this anymore. I'll just get rid of it. Sold it. Turns out to be a real hot commodity when I got back into collecting, especially this version of it. So I'm super happy to have it back in the collection. But that does lead us to Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. And this is the version that has the Hulk code inside, so you can play as the Hulk. And it's in here. And it's not like what you would think. It's not like a code that you put in a bunch of numbers and letters in to unlock it. No, it is actually a controller code where you have to like up, down, down, left, right. It's kind of stupid, but I think it's funny. That way, it doesn't expire. Like a lot of these digital codes that come with these games do. So I'm pretty sure if I were to try to install these characters in this game, unless they're pre-installed on the disc, I don't think I can get any of them. But this is more of the same. It's still awesome, super fun. I had this one back in the day too, but sold it also when I got sick of it. but another dungeon crawl, beat 'em up with Marvel characters, and a lot of new ones too. Gambit, hell yeah, Deadpool. Yeah. Loves it. This one I played through so fast, you have no idea. I was super excited about this. I think this is the Walmart exclusive I got. I do believe it has like an extra thing in it. This is my original copy from back when it first came out. That is Max Payne 3. I absolutely love the Max Payne games. The original two on the Xbox were some of my favorites. I played those to death. The whole bullet time thing that you can do, I thought was absolutely fantastic. It was pulled off very well, made the game super fun. Also, the whole noir aesthetic to it, I thought worked great. This one changed it up a little bit. It goes from being in, I guess, like New York or whatever it was supposed to be to Miami, if I remember right. And Max is like working private security now, and he goes on like a rampage. He shaves his head at one point and just goes on a complete rampage, taking out drug lords. And it is super freaking awesome. I played through this, I want to say, within like a week. I picked it up on day one, and I remember I called out of work one day just so I could finish it because I was so into it. Super fun. It has a lot of the same mechanics. It's just way better looking, plays way better, more to do. Fantastic game. Absolutely love it. I do believe the story kind of ended here, but I would not be sad if another game came out, or a remaster, or a remake of the original. That would be awesome. I still haven't played this one because I got this at my new local store, Video Games Then and Now. I found this for like dirt cheap. And you know my licensed games. I got MIB Alien Crisis, and I do believe this is a third-person cover-based shooter, but I don't think you're playing as any of the actual characters from the films. It's just you're playing as another agent. I got it dirt cheap. I remember that much. I don't expect much of it. But I don't even remember hearing about this game coming out. I remember it being a complete surprise when I saw it sitting there on that shelf at the store. I was like, well, take a shot. Haven't actually popped it into play yet. I should probably do so to make sure that I have a download for the updates if there are any. And I love my compilation discs, so especially when it's an arcade one. What's up, J-Chip? Bargain Bin Hobo said it was a good Men in Black game. I still haven't played it. I want to. It was dirt cheap when I got it, so... Midway Arcade Origins. I picked this one up on day one because I think I had gotten rid of my original. Yeah, I did not have an original Xbox anymore, and I wanted to be able to play the Marvel Arcade Treasures, I think they were called, on the Xbox, and that was the console that I had them on. But I didn't have an original Xbox anymore, so this is the next best thing. This has a lot of the old Midway arcade games on it, although it does not have the Mortal Kombat games on it, which makes me sad. It's a lot of like 80s and 90s ones. I'll name a few. Joust, which is one of my all-time favorites. Gauntlet, another one of my all-time favorites. Gauntlet 2, Joust 2, Marble Madness. Robotron 2084, Sinistron, another one of my favorites. Smash TV, another favorite. Super Off-Road, Vindicators, Wizard of War, Xenophobe, Zybots, one of my all-time favorites. I do believe this is one of the only places you can actually play Zybots that isn't on the Atari Lynx. That is one of my all-time favorite arcade games. Doesn't really show you much on the back except like the interface, I guess, that the games are on. But I absolutely love stuff like this. 30-plus games from the golden age of arcade gaming. So it's like the 80s and possibly the early 90s. Even has Satan's Hollow on it. That game is awesome, too. It uses the Tron arcade cabinet controls, which is pretty awesome. This one I got dirt cheap off of Amazon. I got it brand spanking new. Knew nothing about it, and then I saw a couple of reviews, and the reviews were like not good, but I didn't care. I got it for like $4 or $5. That's Morph X. Still haven't played it, but I think it's a third-person action-y beat-em-up style game. Can't really comment on it. I have not played it at all. But dirt cheap, don't care. My throat is still super, super sore from that cold I had, or that flu that I had last week. This is the only, I do believe the only greatest hits platinum collection game I have in my collection currently, but it's a Japanese platinum collection game. I don't think this actually came out over here. And I think I'm going to have to go and get my phone so I can read what this is because it's in Japanese. I will be back in 3 seconds. I realized that was longer than 3 seconds. I apologize. Okay, what is this one called? There it is. Okay, so this is a cave shooter, and it is called, Jesus, Mushihime Sama Futari. Like I said, it's a cave like shmup. It's like a bullet hell shmup. And when I first got my new Xbox 360, the Model 2, the Halo 4 one, this was one of the first games I popped into it to try, and I beat it on my first try. I absolutely love these kind of shmups. I think they are super, super fun and challenging. I played through this and Akai Katana and what other one on the same night? I beat like 3 cave shmups in the same evening, and I had a blast doing it. TJ! Yep, got this from my buddy Felix the Brett from the Batter Rad Nerdatorium on Facebook. And like I said, I've said it multiple times in these streams. Every once in a while, he'll send me a message of some, like he bought like someone's entire collection, and because he owns a game store at a flea market, and he has like a dedicated store within it, and he knows the kind of things I like, so he'll like send me pictures like, these are the things I got, I figured you might be into, and I bought another shmup from him, and he's like, well, if you like that, you'll probably like this too, and he talked me into buying this off of him as well, and I absolutely loved it, so had to have it. And just sad that it's the Platinum Collection, but it's from Japan. Who cares? And it played perfectly fine on my 360. I was not aware that the 360 was region free like the PS3 is. So that was a pleasant surprise. Next up, we have these two, and I've only played the first one briefly. And if I remember correctly, it's like a Musou style, Dynasty Warriors game. That is N3 99 Nights and N3 2 99 Nights 2. And like I said, I've only played the original one very briefly when I first picked it up when I got back into collecting. Found this at that disc replay. I remember that. Not too long after I found the second one. So I think it's funny that this one was released by Microsoft and this one's released by Konami. Whatever, but they look pretty rad. They don't really show you much on the backs. Just some character shots and whatever, but not a whole lot of gameplay, which kind of sucks, but whatever. Only certain games are region free. Not all Japanese games work. Oh, really? Never got to play 2. Yeah, I still need to do it. I don't remember where I got this one. Probably on Amazon somewhere. But it's another compilation. This is the Namco Museum Virtual Arcade. And I remember the reason I wanted to get this was I do believe this was available on the Xbox Live store, and that was the only place it was available for a while, and then eventually they released it physically. And you know me, I hate the digital downloads. Definitely have to have the physical version, so I picked this up instead, and it has a bunch of old Namco arcade games like Pac-Man. It has the Pac-Man Championship Edition, Galaga Legions, Xevious, Mr. Driller Online. Classic ones like Dig Dug Pac-Man, Pole Position, Galaxian, and 21 more. I love classic arcade games. The more ways I have the ability to play them, the better, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if I have multiple discs that have the same kind of games on it. I don't care. If whatever I have hooked up at that time, if I have a way to play certain arcade games that I'm real fond of, I will definitely find a way to do so. Oh, don't worry, Man Boy Cave. It's the beauty of YouTube. You can always go back and watch it later. How's it going? Picked this one up when I think Captain Algebra came to visit last summer. I think. Or no, when Rocket Sauce from the Cartridge Club came to visit for Halloween. We went to the Exchanges over here by me, and I picked this up because why not? It was dirt cheap, and it's like the remake of NBA Jam. It's all modern day graphics, but the same basic arcade gameplay. And I've been seeing this around, and I kept on putting off buying it. I love, and I'm not a sports game fan really, but like NBA Jam, because of the arcadey nature of it, really appeals to me. And I played this a ton on the Super Nintendo back in the day, or the original version of NBA Jam. So this just seemed like I absolutely had to have it. And I played it a little bit, and it's actually super, super fun. Probably be better playing it local multiplayer, but single player ain't too shabby either. Love Namco Museum. Yeah, I love my arcade compilations. This one is... Who did this one? It's not... Is this Ninja Theory? I don't remember who did this one. Or is it Suda? Maybe TJ knows. I cannot remember the people who developed this one. It barely counts as a sports game. Yeah, really. Definitely not simulation. I love arcadey sports games, though. We're talking Ninja Blade. I can't remember if this is like Suda 51 or Ninja Theory or what, but I remember like, or the people who made Transformers Devastation and Revengeance. I can't remember their name. Damn it. But whatever. This is a ninja action game. If I remember right, it is like super nutso and crazy. What is the name of that damn company that made this? I do not remember. But I played it briefly when I was doing the same thing I did with my PS3 from Software. Thank you. It doesn't say it on the back here. They usually have that front and center, but they don't. And if they do, I can't read it because the typing. And you guys see, TJ can vouch how dark it actually is in this room. I always say that it doesn't look dark on screen, but in here it actually is, and I cannot read half the stuff on this box. But what am I saying? Oh, when I get a new game for the PS3, I immediately pop it into my PS3 to make sure that I get the update if there are any for that game before those updates aren't available anymore. And I remember I did that for a bunch of games on my Xbox 360. I popped them in to make sure I got the update that was available. And I remember I played this a little bit when I did that, and I thought it was pretty cool, but I wanted to be able to dedicate like my attention strictly to it, but I was already playing other games. So I need to come back to this, but it looks awesome. It says on the front, it does? Oh yeah, you know, my brain don't work too good, guys. Sometimes I'm on the ball. Sometimes it's just kind of like the shiny. Anyway, next up we have boobs. Lots of boobs. Onichan Bara, Bikini Samurai Squad. There's a bunch of games in this franchise. I have two. I have this one, and I have one for the PS4. I think there's also one on the Wii. I don't know if they're sequels to each other or remakes of each other or what, but it's a like hack and slash, kind of like Bayonetta, I guess, with bikini-clad ninja ladies with cowboy hats and school uniforms. So like, ooh, I guess, a little. And I played the PS4 one a little bit, and I thought it was pretty fun, but it was still a little janky. So I kind of like put it down, and I was like, I'll come back to it. I never did. But then eventually I found this at Half Price Books, so I was going to I'm not going to pass that one up. Not the best in the series. This one, which one's best? The PS4 or the Wii one then? But I need to sit down and play through those. PS4 one is better. This I beat the shit out of. That is the orange box. This has Half-Life 2, Episode 2, which is like just another chunk of the game. Team Fortress 2 and Portal. Actually, it is all of Half-Life 2 plus extra. And I played through the Half-Life 2 portion of this when I was unemployed. When I lost my job in 2011, had a lot of free time on my hands for about 4 months. I watched a ton of television shows from beginning to end, like Scrubs. And, oh God, what was that one where that kid that worked at that Kmart type place found out that his dad was the devil? Reaper. I watched all of Reaper. And a couple of, all of that 70s show. And I played through Half-Life 2 on this. And it's absolutely fantastic. I absolutely loved it. It's an awesome first-person shooter with some really cool physics stuff going on. You have that gravity gun. That thing is amazing. I really liked the water sections where you're like on that jet ski thing. It is super, super fun. And you also got Portal, and I played it a little bit, and I was just kind of like, am I kind of indifferent on it. And then Team Fortress is all online multiplayer stuff, so I never really played any of that. But Half-Life 2 on here, holy shit, it is awesome. Awesome. Which one, J Chip Show? The Namco one? TJ, not fair to compare. 360 is a generation behind. The boob fix got way better. The boobs. Boobs! Okay, so this one is one of the first games I picked up when I got back into collecting. I am super thrifty. Like nowadays, because I've gotten a lot of the cheaper stuff out of the way, now the games I still want are kind of the pricey ones. But back in the day, when I first got back into collecting in like late 2013, early 2014, I was just super thrifty, dude. I was like getting bags of stuff like at that disc replay for dirt cheap. I was finding all these deals on Amazon, and one of them I found was this Medius Excellent, which is like it said it's inspired by the legendary Gradius. Basically, take the ship from Gradius and plop an anime chick on top of it, like she's riding it like a horse. And I got this special edition. Here's the actual game. And it is a side-scrolling, like 2.5D shmup. And it's okay. I did not think it was the greatest thing ever. But what comes in this thing? I'm glad you asked. And it's kind of creepy. So I got this for, I think, a whopping $8 on Amazon. And it comes with this art book, which is kind of crooked. It's kind of misaligned. Medius art book. And it has a soundtrack inside as well. And you have lots of pictures of girls in bikinis and stuff because boobs. And the other thing this comes with, you ready for this? It's not open. It's still in the packaging. Because when I opened this up, I didn't realize, I knew that it came with an art book and I knew it came with the soundtrack. I did not realize it was going to come with this. So when I opened it up, I was just kind of like, what is this thing? And then I looked and, oh, it comes with a pillowcase with an anime chick on it with her big ass boobs hanging out. Yep. Booby case. And I own it. Yes. Life complete. The game itself ain't that great. I was expecting more from it, but it's basically just like the idea of playing like the Vic Viper ship with a anime girl straddling it is the big thing, and it's not the greatest. Wasn't a big fan. I played it for like an hour, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I think I'm done. Luckily, I didn't pay a whole lot for it. Mildly disappointing, but whatever. I expected more from Konami. Sorry, Konami. A booby pillow or mouse pad or a body pillow. That could be your mascot. The orange box. The orange box is awesome. Yes, I will say that is one of the best. Outside of Team Fortress, which I never played, it's pretty awesome, I gotta say. Boobs. PS4 had better boob physics. Gradius with boobs. Real Jesus talked about that game on his pickup video. Seemed kind of fun. Because, of course, could be my mascot. Thanks. No boob shmup is complete without a booby pillow. Yep. Had to get this. I bought this before I even had an Xbox 360. So Xbox came out, and then Black Friday happened. And I think it was the same year that it came out. So I remember I was at home. We had the day off from work. I looked in the newspaper when newspapers were still a thing. And like the ads for all the stores that were doing Black Friday sales were in there. And I saw the one for Circuit City. There was a Circuit City not too far from where I lived back then. And they were selling a bunch of basically brand new 360 games, like more than half off. And I was just kind of like, well, it would be good to have games to play once I get my 360. So I'm going to go and pick some of these up. So I picked up two. One of them was Perfect Dark Zero. This is not the one that I bought back in the day. But one I had back in the day was the standard snap case, green DVD case version. This is the Steelbook. I picked this one up, and I do believe half-price books. Half-price books? Yeah, half-price books. And I traded back in my original version. So, yeah, it comes with really cool slip that you can kind of see Joanna Dark through it, but she's in full view on the back. And you got the awesome looking steelbook. Inside, you got the disc and a soundtrack. Oh, sorry. No, it is a bonus DVD. And a thick-ass manual. Another one that is like a guide to modern combat. This piece of art, it's like 7 of 9. It's like metallic, reflective. And an ad for a phone. A flip phone. Get Samsung mobile flip phone. the Perfect Dark Zero version. Sure. Why not? But this is by Rare when they were still kind of sort of good before they completely went to crap making that Viva Pinata shit and what's it called? Not Ratchet and Clank. Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Yeah, this is a prequel to Perfect Dark on the Nintendo 64, but definitely has better graphics and better play control. I remember it got pretty middle of the road reviews to kind of bad reviews because people were like, "Oh, this is what a first-person shooter on these new generations is going to be like." It's really disappointing. I was like, it's a first-person shooter based off of one that came out on the Nintendo 64. What did you expect? I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was actually pretty fun when I played it back in the day. Never actually completed it, but had to have it because, number one, Rare. Number two, I love Perfect Dark. One of the few games I absolutely loved on the N64. So had to have that. Flip phones are, yep, they're back. Samsung is trying to get me to turn in my Samsung phone, which I got last year, so I can get one of those flip phones. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Nah. But yeah, I never thought it was as bad as everyone was making it out to be. I was like, I don't know, people just had super high expectations because it was Rare, and, you know, it was after, like, Microsoft. Well, Microsoft had bought them during the original Xbox days, but, like, I don't know if it was because of Rare having to do with it, and it was a sequel to a really popular game, but they, like, thought it was going to be, like, the second coming. And when I played it, I was like, it reminds me of Perfect Dark when I played it on the Nintendo 64, just with better graphics and controls. Yeah, Perfect Dark over GoldenEye any day. You and me, Jay Chip, we're unofficial. We're brothers from another mother. I think GoldenEye is very overrated. Anyway, had this. What was it? No, I had this on the Xbox, and then I traded it in so I can get the 360 version because of the high def. That is King Kong, the official game of the movie. I do not put it under Peter Jackson's because that arrogant mofo, of course he had to put that on there. But I rented this from Blockbuster because I heard it was really short. When it first came out, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to pay $50 or whatever it was they were asking for back in the day, $60 for a game that's like 4 hours long. And I rented it from the local Blockbuster, and sure enough, I beat it in 4 hours in one sitting. And it was fun. I liked it. You play as Kong, and you also play as some of the humans every once in a while. When you're playing as Kong, you're like swinging around in the jungle trying to take on enemies and chase people and whatever. And other times it's like a first-person shooter. And it is super fun. I liked it a lot. But like I said, it is like 4 hours long. But the graphics, when I rented it on the original Xbox. The graphics on the original Xbox I thought were great. It played great. It's just that there wasn't a whole lot to it. So I never actually owned a copy of it until got back into collecting in 2013. So glad to have that in the collection. It's a very fun game. Oh, I do have it under the P's. Son of a bitch. Damn it. I don't anticipate ever playing this. I don't even know if this is like you can play this online anymore. But I found this at the disc replay, and it was like $5. So I picked it up, and I was like, I don't even know if I can actually play it, but whatever. And that is Phantasy Star Universe. There was Phantasy Star Online, version 1 and 2 on the Dreamcast. I played that for a little bit, and I thought it was okay, but it didn't hold my attention for very long. And then there was the ones on the original Xbox, and then there was this. I don't believe these are still online anymore, but I have it because I like Phantasy Star and Sega, so had to have that. And I mean, it does look pretty cool, but I never played any of these past the ones on the Dreamcast because I do not like playing those online-only style games, even if I'm playing with friends. I'd prefer my single-player experience, so... The Dreamcast ones are still online? Yeah, I figured. I think it was Mondane that told me those were still online at some point, too. Where's Mondane? Goddamn. Oh, he started back at work. I forgot. Let's see. Next up, we have Pocket Bike Racer. This is another one of those Burger King games. Boyga King. Like I said, when I was talking about the bumper car one, I can't remember what it's called, in the first stream, that I picked all of these up on the same day. I just ran over to the Burger King, and I was just like, do I have to buy a Happy Meal or whatever the hell they call them, the kids' meal to get the games, or can I just buy the games outright? They're like, you can just buy the games if you want. And I bought all three. And not my favorite in any of the three. This is definitely not my favorite. I don't like this one. I don't like this one very much, or the bumper car one. I like the other one the most. The one we'll talk about later. But it is very generic looking. And the thing is, you can play these on the original Xbox and the 360. And I don't think there's any kind of graphical upgrade for playing it on the 360, which is sad. What's up next? This got a remake, I do believe, on the PS4 and all that. That is Prey. This is a first-person shooter from 3D Realms, people that made Duke Nukem. And you're playing as like a Native American killing aliens. And I played it a little bit when it first came out. I bought it when it was originally released. I played it for like 2 days, and then something else distracted me, and I was like, "Oh, this shiny thing over here now," and I never went back to it. But I ended up getting rid of it when I lost my job, and I bought a new copy of it when I got back into collecting. But first-person shooter, I remember it being pretty awesome, but I need to go back into it. I need to go back and play a lot of these games that I gave up on at some point because I'm stupid. Still haven't opened this one, but I got this at Best Buy at some point, or did I get this from somewhere else and it still has the Best Buy sticker on it? I don't know. I do believe this is still the one that I bought back in the day when it first came out. I still haven't opened it. And that is Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands. So we had that trilogy of Prince of Persia games on the original Xbox and the PS2. It was like Sands of Time, Warrior Within, and the Two Thrones. And then they rebooted it with that cel-shaded one that nobody liked, where the prince guy has like that big-ass claw, and nobody bought it. Everyone hated it. So they decided to go back to the well and make a fourth game based on those Sands of Time games. And I remember I was really excited that they did that, but never actually went and played it. Exclusive, playable, Sand Raid. This is the Best Buy exclusive. I'm surprised I have never opened this. Wow. So I've been sitting on this for, I don't know, 15 years. Whatever it is. Next up is another one that I have played this. I had this one back in the day, but I sold it when I lost my job. But I had to get it again, and this is still sealed. I got this from that Square Enix website sale that I was getting all those DS games like Dragon Quest and all that. That is Project Sylphid, Arc of Deception. It is a shmup, and it's part of, what was it, Sylphid on the Sega CD and Sylphid the Lost Planet on the PS2. But I have not played it a whole lot. At least I didn't back in the day. But I need to pop this open and give it a shot again because I remember liking it quite a bit. Next up, we have the first prototype. There's a second one, too, I should probably get my hands on. Actually, I think there's like a double pack somewhere out there I need to get my hands on so I can save some space on the shelf. But it's a third-person action game where you get like venom powers. And you can basically stretch your limbs and stuff like that when you're attacking. I have not played this one. I remember I bought this from Amazon used, and I just never actually played it. But it was popular enough that it got a sequel, so that's saying something. I did see the Prince of Persia movie. I saw it opening weekend when it came out. I thought it was pretty disappointing. I bought this one because of TJ's buddy, Adam Koralik. He talked about it in, I think it was one of his pickup videos or something. But this was when I had first gotten back into collecting, and I was, well, maybe not right when, maybe like pretty close to it, maybe like 2015. And he was talking about this compilation. This is a bunch of other games that were digital on the Xbox Live Store. It got put on a physical disc later on. And it is this thing called Cubed. It has Luminous Live, E4, Every Extend Extra Extreme. I have the third one, well, E3 on the PSP. And the one I wanted it for was Res HD. This is before I got my hands on the PlayStation VR version and the PS2 version. I really wanted this because of Res, because I absolutely loved Res. I thought it was a fantastic game when I played it on the PS2 back in the day. So it has 3 digital games on physical. And you know me, got to have my digital on physical when I can, because fuck digital. Got this one because of Radical Reggie. I think he talked me into buying this. And that is Raiden 4. This is a vertically scrolling shmup, long-running series. It's been around since, I do believe, the 80s. And it's pretty awesome. But the thing that I like the most about this one is it comes with a soundtrack. It's along with the game on disc. So super awesome. You can see the pictures. It's kind of got that narrow screen thing like you would see in the arcades. Absolutely love that. And the Raiden series is pretty fun. I've always liked it. Ever since I played the Raiden Project on the original PS1. And then this one I found not too long after getting Raiden 4. And I found this at freaking Half Price Books, that one where I was always getting stuff by my work, but now has absolutely nothing. And that is Raiden Fighters Aces. So this is a compilation. It has 3 different Raiden games on it. And I've never seen these actual games in the arcade, but it has Raiden Fighters 2, and Raiden Fighters, is that 3? I think so, Raiden Fighters 3. But, yep. More vertically scrolling shmup action. Love it. Bought this, and I remember when I bought this at Target, and it still has the clearance tag on it. I've never actually opened it. You have Fighters Jet 2 arcade PC. Nice. Excuse me. We have Remember Me from Capcom, and I bought this on clearance at my local Target for $13.98. And if I remember correctly, this is a third-person action beat-em-up. It's still sealed. I have not played it. But I remember reading the reviews of it and thinking it sounded pretty cool. Just never got around to buying it when it was like relevant, when it was like new. But yeah, found it in clearance at Target. I don't find anything on clearance at Target anymore. I see pictures all the time of people at Targets and Walmarts going like, oh, they've got all these games on clearance. Go over there and pick them up while you can. None of the Targets or Walmarts that I go to or that I have access to ever have stuff on clearance anymore. And if it is, it's like maybe $10 off. It's usually just like a sale. It's a finicky PCB. My Super Gun doesn't like it. Oh. I bought this one even though... So I did a collaboration on my channel years and years and years ago. It was about WTF games, like games that you think are going to be cool, but when you play them, you're like, what the hell? So I had 3 other YouTubers on that episode. I had Felix the Brett, who I talked about. I buy games from all the time, from the Batter Rad Nerdatorium. He was one guest. John Riggs was the other. And the third one was Wood from Beat 'em Ups, who is like notoriously like, I will not do collaborations with people and all that kind of stuff. I'm too busy, kind of stuff back then. He even said like in a video, I don't want to do your collaboration, especially when you're rude about it. But he goes, but if you ask nicely, I might. And I was like, oh, I'll take that into consideration. So I messaged him through Facebook, and I was like, hey, I have a real small channel. I'm doing a collaboration. I'd love it if you participate. And he was like, no, sorry, I don't have the time. And I said, okay, thanks for your time. No worries. And I guess that was what won him over, because like the next day he sends me a message. He's like, what do you need from me? I was like, oh, sweet. So I got Wood in the video. And Wood said this was his WTF game, or one of them. He talked about a couple. This is the one he complained about the most. And he said, don't buy it. It's a POS. And I was like, I didn't listen. I found it real cheap at a store. And I was like, I don't care. I love the franchise. I'm going to buy it. That's Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. I guess this is the multiplayer one where you can play, I guess, online and... Oh, no, this is the local, couch co-op, local multiplayer one. And he said that he and a bunch of friends were super excited about it when he was still living in Australia. They were super excited about it. They went out and they rented it from like the Blockbuster or whatever the big video rental chain is out there. And they went out and got a bunch of food and a bunch of beer, sat down to play it together. And they were like a half hour into it, and they were just like, this is garbage. And he was like, don't buy it. It's a piece of crap. He goes, all of us were disappointed. And I was like, naturally, I see it like a month later at the store for like $3. And I was just kind of like, ooh. But I have not sat down to play that yet. Yeah, the only time I get games on sale at like big box stores like, Target and Walmart is Black Friday. And I don't go to the store to do it. I do it on the websites, online. Here's another Kinect game. And I have not played this one because my Kinect has been in the closet since probably a year after I bought it. And I bought this one, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And that is Rise of Nightmares. It's a horror game on the Kinect, and that sounds kind of cool. But then again, it's the Kinect we're talking about here, so it probably doesn't work very well. And I just wanted to have it for the collection because Sega and horror games, but I do not feel like cracking out the Kinect and hooking it up just to try this and be very disappointed. But it looks cool, but I don't have high hopes. And that is probably the worst Resident Evil game. It's basically SOCOM. Yeah, that's what he was saying. He said it was one of the worst things ever. Picked this one up because it's like a God of War clone, and I love God of War. And I wanted to pick it up because I also am a big fan of like Greek mythology. So I picked up Rise of the Argonauts. I found this at, I do believe, Disc Replay. Like I used to get like a lot of the disc-based games I have in my collection came from that Disc Replay or that half-price books by my work. But it's like a 3D beat 'em up like God of War, but you're playing as, I can't remember exactly who the character is. It's an action RPG. You're playing as Jason from Jason and the Argonauts. Duh, it's in the freaking title. My brain don't work too good sometimes, guys. But I liked what I played of it. I just have not sat down to actually play through it proper. I should probably do that since I really like I said, Greek mythology. Got these on the... See, this was weird. These aren't Square Enix games, but I got these on the Square Enix website sale. I got all 3 of these there. And this is the 3 Risen games. Got the original Risen, Risen 2 Dark Water Special Edition, it's still sealed, and Risen 3 Titan Lords. I don't know if Square Enix bought the rights to distribute these games or what, but like I said, I got them on their website. I don't know why. But these are like pirate RPGs or pirate action RPGs. And I thought that sounded really, really fun, but I haven't been able to bring myself to play them yet. Sad thing is, like, there's no gameplay on the back of the first one, which is really stupid. The second one obviously has extra stuff. What does it say here? Special edition contents, Treasure Island and Air Temple DLC mission packs containing hours of new adventures, a double-sided poster featuring a map of the Southern Islands, and an official Risen 2 artwork. Okay. And that one has a couple of pictures, and you can see like the pirate ships and all that kind of stuff, and fighting some monsters with some swords. And then you have the third one, which is still sealed. There's nothing special about this one. And it just has a couple of pictures on the back. So I'll get around to playing those eventually. And then we have this. And this. And this. And this. And this. And this. Talked about it multiple times on this channel, how much I love this franchise. And I had multiple parties, sometimes once a week. I had people at work who didn't even talk to me at work wanting to come over to my place to play this. A bunch of guys who I kind of casually knew at work found out through, I guess, one of my other work friends that I had this game, and they asked if I was ever planning on having a party so they could try it. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's try it out. And a bunch of them came over, and man, we played this crap until like the wee hours. I watched these guys drink like 3 cases of Busch Light and never even got drunk. We ordered pizzas. It was awesome. It was so fun. And then like people started coming in as the night went on. Like they're like, hey, so and so from work wants to come over to play it too. Can they come over? I'm like, yeah, sure. And it was so fun that I kept on having multiple parties with this, with multiple different groups of people. We're talking about the Rock Band. Peter's right. What's up, Peter? I'm totally Rock Band. So a bunch of people that were at work that were asking if I was ever going to have a party so they can play it were actual musicians. One of them was He played like backup guitar and was a singer. One of them was a drummer. One of them was a bassist. Another one was an industrial band that I actually filmed a music video for at work. He was the drummer for that band. And then like my personal friends started like getting curious about it and asking if they can come over and try it. And it just turned into this big ass epic thing. It was always like every month I was having like a rock band party. It was super fun. I loved it. And I was always downloading every single week. Harmonix would release a new song pack. It was like 5 new songs every single week that you could download and add to the game. The only thing that kind of stank at the beginning was, especially when it came to the original Rock Band, is that the songs weren't from the original bands. It was like covers of the songs. They didn't get the license to use the actual song, so they had to re-record their own versions of it. The one that I liked playing the most was probably the easiest song because I loved playing the drums, and I could 100% the song every time on the hardest level, and that was Brass in Pocket by the Pretenders. And like you listen to that and you listen to the original song, you could totally tell it's not Chrissy Hines singing that song. But they had a lot of really fun stuff. And then as the game, like the downloads were coming in, the real artist versions were showing up. And then when they got to part 2, they obviously had the money to start paying for the royalties for the real songs, and that's when it really took off. But you can play the guitar, the bass, you can sing, and you can play the drums. And I bought the big set that came with everything at the beginning. And then when part 2 came out, Rock Band 2 came out, they released an Ion drum kit, which is like this professional-looking drum kit that is like adjustable. It had cymbals. You could use it on a real computer. You could use it as a real electronic drum kit if you wanted to. I traded in my original one and got that instead and never looked back. We were always playing it. It was so crazy. And then eventually part 3 came out, and this one added in a keytar, like a guitar, a keyboard guitar peripheral. And I never really got into it that much because it didn't really have a whole lot of keys on it. It was hard to play holding it like a guitar, so I always would put it down on the table and play it sitting down. But super, super fun playing all 3 of these all the time. Absolutely loved it. But like I said, digital songs, they don't last forever. So luckily, Harmonix started releasing like these physical track packs. So I've been trying to get all of them. There's the Rock Band Metal track pack. This has who was that? A Blue Oyster Cult, All That Remains, Children of Bottom, Godsmack, Yngwie Malmsteen. Oh God, Yngwie. Jesus. Rage Against the Machine, Queens of the Stone Age, Nazareth, Motorhead, Lamb of God, saw them live. Lacuna Coil, Judas Priest. So a lot of really awesome metal bands in this one. And then picked up this classic rock track pack. This has Boston, Dead Kennedys, George Thorogood, Jethro Tull, Lenny Kravitz, Pat Benatar, The Police, Rush, Susie and the Banshees, Steve Miller Band, The Who, hell yeah. And then this other, I think it's just a generic track pack, Volume 2. Yeah, because that's classic rock metal. I need to get the original track pack, Volume 1. This has Avenged Sevenfold, Blondie, Weezer, Devo, Disturbed, The Cars, The Police, Pixies, Duran Duran, Smashing Pumpkins, Judas Priest, Garbage, Papa Roach, Fall Out Boy, 9 Inch Nails, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Leonard Skinner, Motley Crue. I mean, that's awesome. And there's more. I already talked about the Beatles one, the Green Day one. There's another Green Day one out there that's like Green Day Live Plus or something. I actually saw it this weekend when I was out with, or last weekend when I was out with the guys, game hunting throughout Chicago. And then there's this. Who the hell is texting me? Oh. I found this at Half Price Books. It was still sealed. It was $1. This is like, I guess they had like 15 of these things. Must have fallen off of a truck or something. But I picked it up because of what it is. And it is another rhythm game. And it uses the guitar controls. You could use either the ones from Guitar Hero or Rock Band. And it is this thing called Rock of the Dead. I had never heard of this before seeing it at that Half Price Books. And it's got songs from Rob Zombie, or features Rob Zombie, and the acting talents of Neil Patrick Harris and Felicia Day. I was talking about Felicia Day last night. And it has a lot of songs by Rob Zombie in it. And it's like the zombie invasion, and by playing the music, you're attacking the zombies with music, with rock. You're killing them with the power of rock. It's goofy and it's silly and it's really janky and cheap. It looks really, really cheap. It looks like a bargain basement game. But I was actually having a little bit of fun with it. It's not too bad. It could have been a hell of a lot better, but it's like a budget title, so whatevs. What is that? Totally Rock Band. Tonight I'm going to try to get my daughter to sleep. J-Chip Show. Oh, next Mo Game Con, I'll bring my 360 and we would play. Hell yeah. Well, I could bring my whole setup if you want. I have all the guitars. I still have the microphones. I still have the keytar. I have the bass, the one that actually looks like a bass guitar, and the one that looks like a real guitar. I have the Ion drum kit. I could bring my smaller 360. Yeah, and it has all of that stuff downloaded on all those extra songs and stuff that I downloaded back in the day. Oh, so many songs. And it has a lot. There's actually a KMFDM pack that came out that you could download. It had Juke Joint Jezebel on it, which was like their big hit. Juke Joint Jezebel and some other song. And there's a bunch of Nine Inch Nails stuff. I know you could play The Hand That Feeds. And The Hand That Feeds, this is kind of funny. I played The Hand That Feeds on guitars so much that I could play it without looking at the screen. Every time we would start playing it, I would turn around and look at the wall, and I could play it by memory because it didn't have a super crazy guitar, track. So I would look at the wall and just play, and everyone would be looking at me like, "What are you doing?" I was like, showing off. Let me mute my phone so it's not constantly beeping because it looks like Meme Fest is about to start. Okay. Continuing. This is sad because this studio just got closed today. Now I've got something to die for. Favorite rock band is probably Part 2. Used to nail Creep back in the day. We got something to die for. What do you mean now I got something to die for? Yeah, this studio, this game developer studio, just got closed today. Whoever bought them out just decided to shut them down. Volition. That's Saints Row the Third. It's a Grand Theft Auto ripoff, but it's like a really tongue-in-cheek one, I guess. Everything is like super colorful. Like the Grand Theft Auto games, they try to be at least a little bit realistic with the way things work, but here it's like silly. And I played this one. Like I remember I took my car to Best Buy in order to get a new radio installed because I wanted to be able to hook my iPod up to it. And while I was waiting for it to happen, I was just wandering around the store, and I ended up buying this and Back to the Future, the game, the one by Telltale Studios or Telltale. And I played this for like 2 days, and I was just kind of like, That was kind of when I was still in that I don't like open world games all that much mode. And I played it for like 2 days, and I was just kind of like, not really feeling it. And I got rid of it. But then I eventually got it back because I started playing more open world games and really started to get into it and started to like it. So I need to give this another shot. But it seemed fun when I played it. It's just open world games weren't really my thing. I talked about this one yesterday in the pickup stream. This is a new game to my collection that I found a couple of weeks ago when I went to a Half Price Books that was way out of the way. In a really rich neighborhood. They actually had some interesting stuff, and turns out this is an exclusive for the 360. I don't like fighting games on the 360 because I don't like the D-pad, but because it's an exclusive, I picked up Samurai Showdown Sen, and it's like a 3D animated version of a Samurai Showdown game. It's not like a hand animated. This one actually looks like it's 3D, like polygons. So that's kind of strange in itself, but had to get it. I love my fighting games. I love SNK. This is one I bought twice, and then I found out that it's not good. I bought it for the PS2, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's a 360 version? I want the HD version. So I traded it in and got this, and it turns out it's not great. It's a Secret Service. It's a third-person, I think, cover-based shooter, and it's not that great. It sounds like it could be kind of fun, but it's trying to be like this super gritty Call of Duty style game, and it's not good. It's not that good. The bit that I played of it, I was just kind of like, I probably shouldn't have made the effort to upgrade, but whatever, I did it, and it's done. Which game nearly killed your 360? Samurai Showdown or Saints Row? Struggling to play the game? That sounds like every time I would pop something into that Model 3 360 that I had, and it felt like all the discs were coming off the surface of the sun. Next up we have, I didn't know this was a thing either, but apparently Sega really is trying to copy everything Nintendo does at some point. Samurai Showdown. Oh, really? Samurai Showdown? That is surprising. Sega Superstars Tennis. Of course, there was Mario Tennis, so we've got to have Sonic Tennis. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like Sonic Tennis, or it's an arcadey tennis game, kind of like virtual tennis, but it all features nothing but Sega characters. Like you can see, you've got the dude from Nights into Dreams, you've got the lead dude from Jet Set Radio Future, you got Sonic. Yep. And I'm not mad because arcadey sports games are the ones that I like playing the most, and this is something you whip out at a party and you have a few minutes of a good time. Whatever. This one disappointed the shit out of me. You have no idea how mad I was at this game. And a lot of people were too. I should have listened to them because I was like, it can't be that bad. And I ran out and bought it on day one. All the reviews I was reading online, everyone's like, this is a piece of crap. Don't waste your money. It's overpriced for what you get. Don't do it. And it turned out it was completely online. And I didn't really realize it. But I bought it because of what it is. And that is Shadowrun. I am a huge Cyberpunk fan. Shadowrun is my jam. I played the tabletop RPG. The Super Nintendo Shadowrun game is one of my favorite games of all time. So naturally, there's a new Shadowrun game coming out for the new console that I own. Gotta have it. Go out and get it day one. Didn't realize it was an online-only game, and there was only one area to play in. It's a first-person shooter, and it absolutely sucks. It is so bad. I remember there being like a tree, a big tree in the middle of the area, and it did not work. It was terrible. It was so for what you paid, you did not get your money's worth. There was so little content here. I was so mad I sold it the next day. Like I played it for that first day, and I was like, it's just online, and this is the only stage you can play. Bye. I got rid of it the next day. It was so bad. But I found it for $1 at Half Price Books. They had a bunch of them sitting there. So I picked it up because, hey, it's Shadowrun. I can't play it anymore, but I don't care. It's Shadowrun. I love Shadowrun. Gotta have it. Just for the collectability of it. I found this one at, I think, Disc Replay. And then a friend of mine who was a huge fan of Sherlock Holmes was like, where the hell did that come from? I need it right now. And that is Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. I knew nothing about this. Apparently it's a point-and-click adventure game where it's a mystery of, pitting Sherlock Holmes against Jack the Ripper. That sounded kind of cool to me. Only thing is I totally forgot. I just opened it up right now. I have no manual, so I don't know how to play it. But I got that dirt cheap at that Disc Replay. This one, which one did it? No, was it this one or the other one? No, I got this one from Felix the Brat. That is Silent Hill Downpour. And I have not played this one because I have not played through a lot of the other games in the franchise, so I don't want to spoil any of those games in case this is connected to any of them in any way, shape, or form. But it looks like just your average, your ordinary Silent Hill game going through nightmare escapes and whatnot. So, yep. But this one, I brought it up when I was talking about the Left 4 Dead games, that this lady that I worked with was trying to punish her kid who had moved out but left a whole bunch of stuff behind. And she was like, all of these Xbox 360 games that he's left sitting in the garage for the last couple of years, they got to go. So she just brought this bag one day to work and plopped it on my desk. She's like, these are yours now. And it was a bunch of 360 games. I had a lot of them already. The ones that I didn't have, I kept. Though 2 of them were those Left 4 Dead games. And one of them was Silent Hill Homecoming. I don't know too much about this one either, but I hear this one's not that good. Couldn't tell you why. I haven't played it. Evil welcomes you back home. I don't know if this is a remake of one of them or a brand new game in the franchise. I am not sure. There are so many games in this franchise. I am totally lost. But whatever. I remember thinking that this one was supposed to be good. I mentioned it in one of my videos that I thought it was like one of the good ones, and then one of my, I think it was Felix the Bread actually, would like comment. He's like, no, that one is not good. Had to get this because licensed game. I'm not a fan of this franchise at all. I think it outlived its or outstayed its welcome like decades ago, but it's still hanging around. I haven't thought it's been funny for decades. That's The Simpsons and The Simpsons game. This one I do believe is like an open world game. The Simpsons punch, nag, meditate, and eat their way through the video game industry. Hilarious plot written by the Simpsons writers, spoken by the Springfield favorites. Over 40 minutes of brand new Simpsons animation. Blah, 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 blah. Save the Simpsons from video game purgatory. I don't know what kind of a game it is. I just found it at Half Price Books, and I picked it up because I'm like, hey, I should probably have a Simpsons game. I think it's an open world game, if I'm not mistaken. Can't be positive. And I think I was thinking the one I was looking for was the one based on the movie. I don't think that's based on the movie. Here's the Burger King game that I do enjoy, and that is Sneak King, because this one is so stupid. It's funny. I find this one it's like so bad it's good. It's so silly that I laugh at it all the time. So the whole point of this one is you play as the king, and you think he's Solid Snake, and he's sneaking around all these different areas trying to sneak up on somebody who's hungry and present them with a meal, a Burger King meal. So the first area is like a construction site in the woods, and you'll see like the workers walking around that have like a bubble over their head showing how hungry they are. And you try to sneak up behind them without being seen by anybody else. And the longer you hold down this like attack button, the longer you hold it down before you present the food, the more flourish your presentation of the food to that person is. So like the longest you hold it down, the longest amount of time you hold it down, the flourish is kind of like he goes and like puts the burger out in front. It makes me laugh every time because it is so stupid. But I enjoyed it. It's super, super fun. And like, I don't know. I'm a connoisseur of bad games. Like B movies, I'm a connoisseur of bad video games. That one just cracks me up. The rest of them can go to hell. That one I think is kind of fun. I should probably get the PlayStation 3. Now that I have all of the versions of the second game in the franchise for all the different consoles, because they all had different exclusive characters, I should probably get the other one of this too, because this has an exclusive character on the PS3. And that is Soul Calibur 4. This one has Yoda in it as an exclusive character, and the PS3 version is Darth Vader. I went with the PS4 version, the 360 version, because even though I don't like the D-pad on the Xbox 360 controllers, I thought it'd be more fun to play as Yoda than Darth Vader, because Darth Vader is like taller than everybody else, probably taller than everybody else in the game. Yoda's like this big. That sounds like a lot of fun, to be just like hopping around like a little toad on crack with a lightsaber. And it is super fun. I played this one probably the most after the second game. I actually have pictures on my personal Facebook page of my birthday one year when I was at my old apartment. I had a bunch of friends come over. We went out to dinner, went back to my place, and we started playing video games all night. We started playing this. We created a bunch of different characters to play as, and one of them we called Betty Cocker. And it was like an anime girl wearing like a chef apron, but that was it. She was barefoot. She had like a weird looking hat. It was like a sailor hat. And she had blender attachments for hands. And one of the fights, I have a picture of the fight, like during like the moment that cracked everybody up, was she was fighting Ivy. And for some reason, one of the moves that we assigned to the character made her get down on her hands and knees. And she was like covering her head in her hands. But the thing was, she was facing away from Ivy. And Ivy has that sword that turns into a whip. So Betty Cocker gets down on her hands and knees and does that little cowering move with her ass up toward Ivy, and Ivy went like to whip her with the whip, and it looks like she's getting spanked. And I have a picture of it happening on my TV, and then I have pictures of the people that were playing it, like they had to stop the game because they were laughing so hard they were crying. And like the laugh fest lasted for like 15 minutes. Like they would start playing again, and they would start laughing, and they had to pause it again. It was one of the best things that happened at one of my birthdays ever. It was so damn funny. But it's an awesome game, probably my second favorite game in the series after the second one, and then followed by the original on the Dreamcast. Awesome game. Need to get the PS3 version so I can get the Darth Vader edition. And then for some reason, all of these games jumped up in price out of nowhere. I don't know if they got delisted or what, but like a year or two ago, I kind of made an effort to get all of these games on the 360, and that I was like, all these freaking Spider-Man games. Like all of a sudden, these are all worth a mint. I don't know why. What happened? Was it like No Way Home becoming a huge hit that all of a sudden everybody wants these Spider-Man games? Because Spider-Man 2 is coming out on the PS5? I don't know. But we have Spider-Man Edge of Time, which looks like he goes to the future and fights alongside, was that Spider-Man 2099? Looks kind of cool. I haven't played any of these, by the way. Then we have Spider-Man Friend or Foe, which looks like a generic beat-em-up. I think this is a port of a game that was developed for the PS2 and the Xbox. And it just got like a really quick port over to the 360. I don't know about the PS3, though. But it looks really generic. And then we have Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, which is another one where he goes to all the different Spider-Verse timelines. You got Spider-Man 2099, you got Ultimate Spider-Man, you got Noir Spider-Man, and the Amazing Spider-Man all in the same game, which is pretty awesome. And all of these are like third-person action games. And then Spider-Man Web of Shadows, which looks like another generic Spider-Man game that was ported over from the PS2. It does not look that great. All these are from Activision. So I don't know why. These are all super expensive now. They're all delisted. Oh, they all got delisted. Okay. That makes sense then. Luckily, I snagged them before they all shot up in price. So I don't have to pay $100 for a craptastic Spider-Man game. Also glad that I picked this up before the price went through the damn roof. I got this at a GameStop like 6 months after it came out for like $20. And that is Splatterhouse, the remake of Splatterhouse. Super awesome 3D beat-em-up remake of the original Splatterhouse game. Love the one on the TurboGrafx 16. I have the PC Engine version because it's uncut, but I even like the arcade game is actually pretty awesome too, but absolutely had to have this. I bought this and the Star Trek game. That's the game that takes place between the first two J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. I bought them at the same time at the GameStop, and I was super happy that I picked this up. That I bought it a long time ago, so I didn't have to pay like $100 for it. I think Metal Jesus was always talking about this. He always talks about like these arcade racing games that he likes, and I like that type of game too. It reminds me of playing Burnout. But he did the Split Second, and I remember he was talking about this in one of his videos, and then I went to that disc replay, and there it is sitting there on the shelf, and it was like $10. So I'm like, give it to me, I'll take it. And it's like an arcade racing game. Look at that, trying to race on a airplane runway while an airplane is trying to land. That's realism for you. But it looks really fun. Disney released this? This is a Disney game? What? What the hell? Okay, my mind is blown. You can unlock the original game in that one. Yeah, I remember Jason telling me that. Corpse Flood. Nega Duck. Awesome. Speaking of, picked up that Splatterhouse game at the same time I picked up Star Trek. This is a third-person cover-based shooter where you can play as either Kirk or Spock, and you can swap between the two also. And it's all about the Gorn invasion. And I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I really liked the first JJ movie, and this was supposed to bridge the gap between the first one and Into Darkness. I ended up liking Into Darkness more, and I don't really like the original one anymore. But having like the characters, and they actually have the actors that are in the movies playing the characters here, both their likeness and their voice talents is pretty awesome. It's just the controls are just a little janky. There's a lot of glitches in this. There's one point where I had to climb into a Jeffries tube, and for some reason the camera was stuck inside the back of Spock's head. And you could see like the outline of his hair, you can see his ears, but like it was like his head was just transparent. It was the weirdest thing. It's fun. It's one of those games that I play for a couple of days, and then I sit on it for like 6 months and don't do anything. And then I play it again a couple of days, and then I sit on it for another 6 months. And I played this, I want to say like a year ago, and I'm still having a fun time with it. It's entertaining, especially if you're a Star Trek fan. All the sound effects and everything, getting beamed and everything, it's rad. but it's not the greatest game out there. So I keep on like saying, yeah, I'll play it for a little bit and just forget about it for a while. But this was one of the first games I bought for the 360 once I bought it. That is Star Trek Legacy. This was one of the ones that Bethesda made. I think this is the last one that Bethesda made. This game is tough. It has a very high learning curve, and it goes through all the different iterations of Star Trek. So it starts off with you playing as Archer from Enterprise, and then it goes into the original series, but it's the movie era. And then it goes into Next Generation, then Deep Space Nine, then Voyager. This is before all the other iterations were actually a thing yet. And like you play a bunch of different missions in each timeline, and they go in order. And you actually have the actors who played the captains doing the voiceover for all those different sections. So you got Scott Bakula, then you got Shatner, then you got Patrick Stewart, then Avery Brooks, and then Kate Mulgrew. It's pretty cool that they got all of them together for this game. The game itself isn't all that great. It's like all combat simulations with the ship. And like the ship turns super freaking slow, and then you got to wait for your phasers to recharge. And then you got to get in range of your photon torpedoes, and then when they're the stuff that you do as Archer in the original Enterprise, the NX-01, is really easy. But once you play as the Kirk era Enterprise, it gets so freaking hard. I think I had just gotten to the Next Generation stuff when I was like, you know what? I think I've kind of had it. It's hard as hell. It is cool, though. I mean, you can tell that they put a lot. There's a lot. The people who made this game love Star Trek. That's a given. But I don't think they needed to make it as freaking difficult as they did. And then there's this one. So I went to LA to visit my brother, and he took me to that place, Game Dude. And I saw this in the Xbox section, the original Xbox section, and I asked if I could, I wanted to buy it. And the guy actually looked at me and said, why? Like, I was like, can I get that up there? And he looked at me and he's like, really? Why? I'm like, because I want it. And the guy like laughed at me and like put it in my little stack of games I was getting. And then I realized later on that there was a 360 version. So I got rid of it and upgraded. Turned out I probably shouldn't have because it stinks. But it's Superman Returns. I don't think there is a really good, outside of like the death and return of Superman on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, I prefer the Super Nintendo version. I don't think there's a really good Superman game out there. I don't think there's ever really been one. This one is like a third-person game where you spend a lot of time flying around and you just go around beating up bad guys. There's like missions, like you'll hear people screaming for help, got to go help them kind of thing. And it kind of sort of follows the plot of the movie, but not really. There's like little parts where you do like something from the movie and then the rest of it is just randomness. And it does have Brendan Routh's likeness and his voice, which is kind of cool. And I think Kevin Spacey's in it too. I can't remember if he's actually in it or not. I think he is. But it's just like there's not much to it. The controls are kind of jank. And the graphics aren't even that great for a 360 game because this just got ported over from the Xbox version. So, yay. So, not the greatest thing ever. I'm not sad that I have it. This is still sealed. I got this from the Square Enix website. It's still, like I said, still sealed, so I haven't played it. It's another real-time strategy game. And that is Supreme Commander 2. And this looks like absolute craziness. I absolutely want to play this. I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, maybe this weekend. But I know that probably won't happen. I absolutely love these types of real-time strategy games now, especially when it looks nuts like this, where there's like creatures and technology. I absolutely need to play this soon. Damn it. But I got this for, I think, like $4 from the Square Enix website. Like, I took advantage. The only thing I could never get from those website sales were the Chrono Trigger on the DS, because that was always the first thing that sold, and people were buying boxes worth of it so they could resell it. Sons of bitches. Had to have this. This was also one of the first games I bought for my 360 back in the day because it was there and there wasn't a whole lot to choose from, but I bought the table tennis game from Rockstar, and it's silly and it's stupid, but you know what? It's actually kind of fun in short spurts. It's like a little palate cleanser. It's fun. It's fine. It's not crazy. The graphics are actually pretty good for a game about table tennis. I remember that much. But I remember I played this every once in a while, just like in between other games. I'd play this for like a couple of hours, and I'd be like, okay, I'm ready for something else now. It's not hard. It's not bad. It's just there. Makes me wonder why Rockstar thought that they needed to make a game about table tennis, but they did, and sure, why not? Got this, I do believe, from Jason Corpse Flood. He gave this to me in one of those lots where he got a box or like a tote full of stuff that he already had. And first always tries to pass it out to me in church from Game Grinder to see if we need anything. That is Tales of Vesperia, another one of the Tales of games from Namco. And have not played it because I have not played any of these games in this franchise yet. And I would like to start at the beginning if I absolutely can. Eventually, I'll be able to do that, I hope. But in the meantime, I'll try to get as many of them as I can. I hear some are good, some are bad. All are RPGs. Also found this at that disc replay not too long after I got that Jack the Ripper versus Sherlock Holmes game. But this is the Testament of Sherlock Holmes, which is another adventure-y, point-and-clicky game where you're playing as Sherlock Holmes, solving all the mysteries. It looks, I think it sounds kind of fun. I like Sherlock Holmes as a character, and solving murder mysteries in video game form. Sure, why not? I should probably start with that Sega CD version that I have. I hear this one is not great, but it's from Software. See, I read it this time, TJ, and that is Tenchu Z. So at first, I bought it thinking that this was another game in the Tenchu series, and it is. It is in the franchise, but the Z stands for zombie, and it is basically a zombie game with Tenchu rules, and I hear it is not great. I think they did the same thing with Ninja Gaiden. So I have not played it because I hear it's actually not that great. So whatevs. I was looking for this one forever, and same thing with that G.I. Joe game I talked about in the last stream. I was always finding like the PS2 version of this, and I wanted the 360 or the PS3 version. So it took a while to get it, and I finally found it at the exchange down the street from me. And that is TMNT. This is based on the CGI animated Turtles movie that came out like in the late 2000s, which I really enjoyed. I was surprised how much I liked it. Patrick Stewart for the win. And it is a 3D beat 'em up, and it's actually pretty fun. This is the version to have because I saw shots of the PlayStation 2/Xbox version, and that doesn't look like it holds a candle to this. So super happy that I was able to get my hands on a copy of that. This is a brand new game too. I picked this up over the weekend when TJ was out here with Mega Mat, Captain Algebra, and Rocket Sauce. I was looking for all of these at Mo Game Con with Peter. Peter was trying to remind me that I needed to pick these up for my collection. Didn't find any of them at Mo Game Con, but I found them all this weekend hanging out with everybody, going game shopping throughout Chicago. And that is Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. I talked about this one last night. And apparently this is a Tony Hawk skateboarding game that has a story. Sure, why not? Haven't played it yet because I just got it. I hear this one is not great. Is it this one that... No, I don't think this is the one. Is it? There were a few games that were pulled off the shelves because of the licensing of the game engine. One of them, I think, was X-Men Destiny. And I don't remember if this was the other one or if this was... There was one that Felix the Brett was telling me was banned because of subject matter. It was like considered racy. And it was pulled off the shelf. And then there were two different games that were pulled off the shelf because of the engine licensing. And I don't remember if this was one of them or not. But it's a 2 Human. And it's a 3D action game. And I have not played it, but I want to say this is one of the games that was pulled off the shelf that he was talking about. I don't remember if it was the engine one or the one that was pulled off for like Viking-y racy stuff or something like that. I don't remember. I have to ask him about it again. This one I picked up because Musty Hobbit was streaming this on his Twitch channel, and it looked like a lot of fun. It's kind of like a variation of the Katamari Damacy games, but instead of building up a big ball to roll up items on the stages, you're building up a bigger and bigger tornado, and you're just destroying everything. And that is Tornado Outbreak. This is also available on the Wii. I did not want the Wii version. I don't know how you control that on a Wii. But I was watching Musty stream it, and it looked super, super fun. And you control this little wind god guy who creates tornadoes. And the more things you destroy, the bigger your tornado gets, and the bigger things you can destroy. And you have like a meter that builds up that tells you that if you destroyed enough things, you can go on to the next stage kind of thing. and it was super fun watching him play it, so I naturally went out and bought a copy of my own. Didn't know that existed until I watched Musty play it. Here's another collection, and I had to get this. This is another one where it was nothing but digital games that got released physically long after the fact for the 360, and this is this thing. It's just called the Xbox 360 Triple Pack, and it has the original Trials HD, Limbo, which is the one that I really wanted it for, but also Splosion Man, which I actually downloaded. I think I had some credit or something on the Xbox Live store, and I bought that, and I thought it was a pretty fun platformer. Basically, you're playing as this dude who was experimented on, and he can now explode whenever he wants, and when he explodes, he gets propelled, and you can eventually do multiple explosions to kind of propel you even further when you jump. So it's like a puzzle platformer. It's like get out of the stage using you can only explode like 3 times in succession, and then you have to like recharge it. So it's like trying to figure out how to get out of the stages with the abilities that you have available to you, kind of thing. And Limbo is this really cool platformer. It's like a puzzle platformer that's all done in black and white in shadow, and it is super fun. I actually beat it because I think I downloaded it originally also, but I never played Trials HD, and that's the motocross racing game that's all about using physics. And I have one of them that I played on the PlayStation 4. It was one of the first games I got from my PS4, and it was actually really fun. So had to have all of these digital games on physical. So back in the day, this is one of my favorite things in the world. Had to have it. Back in the day, I wanted to get it for the PS3, but I couldn't find the PS3 version anywhere. Everywhere I went, all they had was the 360 version. So I eventually just said, the hell with it. I'll get the 360 version. And that is Tron Evolution. This is a prequel to Tron Legacy. And you can see it's got like a metallic cover, reflective. That's pretty awesome the way that works. It's not the greatest thing ever. It's a little bit janky. You can tell that it didn't get the quality control that it should have because they're trying to rush it out to meet the release date of the movie. Flynn created like this protector character named Anon, A-N-O-N, and he's there witnessing Clue taking over the grid, and he's trying to get a message out to whoever can hear to come and help. And it is super fun. There's some light cycle racing stuff, but they are way too short. And it's usually you're just driving in a straight line, which kind of sucks. But all the combat, it's like a third-person action game, and all the combat is pretty fun. And as you go, you unlock new moves and new abilities and stuff like that. But your character is just generic. You run across multiple characters from the films, or from the film, from Legacy. Like you run across Quora, and I can't remember the name of the character that runs the bar, that we're all white, and all that. It's super fun, especially if you're a Tron fan like me. Like the lore that you get out of it is super awesome, but the game itself isn't the greatest. But I played through this in less than a week. I thought it was super cool, especially because, you know, I'm Mr. Tron man, so I had to have it. Pick this one up. I do believe at Half Price Books. It's another real-time strategy game. I have not spent any time playing it either, which I feel bad about. But that is Universe at War, Earth Assault. The day I got this, the day that I decided to get back into collecting, I brought this up a couple times, that like the day I said you're going to get back into collecting, I already had stacks of like duplicate games and like movies on, you know, like DVDs. I was trying to get rid of my DVD collection. I had all this like 3 bags worth of stuff I wanted to get rid of at Half Price Books, and I was like, I'll bring all this to Half Price Books, and in exchange I'll just buy nothing but games that they have there. And this is one of the games I picked up there. I think it was like $5. And it is a real-time strategy game that looks pretty fun. It doesn't look as good as that Supreme Commander 2 does. But, you know me. I had to have it. I was buying pretty much anything they had that looked reasonably fun. I rented this one, I remember, and it's a third-person like stealth action game. And I thought it was okay. And then eventually I found it at that disc replay place, like $5. That is Velvet Assassin. The back does not show you anything, but I played this for like a day. You know, obviously I rented it, and it was okay. But for $5, I'll buy anything, so I picked that up. Got this at the exchange when I was with Rocket Sauce. I was like, what the hell? Why not? It can't be that bad. Licensed game. Had to get Wall-E. I rarely ever see this game anywhere, so when I saw it at that exchange, I was like, why not? I'll just pick it up because, you know, licensed games. And it looks like a 3D platformer based on the movie. And the movie is probably one of the last... Outside of Incredibles 2, it's probably like the last Pixar movie I actually enjoyed. I think their stuff is so freaking repetitive, and it's always about like toxic family members and stuff. It just gets annoying to me. And then we've got this craziness. Like I've said it multiple times in these streams. I just keep on finding games in this franchise. I don't know what they are, or whatever. And I'm not really into the tabletop version of it, but I keep finding them, so I just keep buying them, and they're usually pretty cheap. So we have Warhammer Battle March, and I don't know what type of game this is. I cannot tell. Because command the armies of the mighty empire, the marauding hordes of chaos, or the unruly orcs and goblins as they clash in a battle that will determine the fate of the Warhammer world. Okay, it sounds like a real-time strategy game then. Okay, sure, whatever. Got it dirt cheap, I think, at half-price books. And then we've got Warhammer 20K, or 40K, sorry, 40K. I always say 20K, it's 40K, Space Marine. And I do believe this is the first-person shooter one. And a couple of people I know told me that this one was actually really, really fun, so I picked it up. So, more Warhammer games. I don't know why I keep finding them, why I keep buying them, but I do. And then I found this at Video Games Then and Now, and I knew nothing about it, never heard of it before, so I picked it up because it looked kind of cool. And it's called Wartech Senko Ronda. Okay. And it basically looks like airborne. Oh, God, what's it freaking called? For the Saturn. God damn it. Shit. No, wrong way. Going the wrong way on my list. Sega Saturn, Sega Saturn, Sega Saturn, Sega Saturn. Shit. Virtualon. It looks like airborne Virtualon. It's like a bunch of robots just having like an arena battle in the air. And it looks pretty cool. It looks fun. Sure, why not? It was dirt cheap. Why not? I remember I downloaded, this came in 2 parts. I downloaded the first part because I'm a huge fan of the movie that this is based on, but I never downloaded the second. And I remember playing the first part a little bit and going like, wow, this is kind of clunky. It's not that fun. Okay, I'm not going to buy the second part. So I didn't. But then I found the physical version because these originally were just download only. Eventually, the physical version came out with both parts in it. And that is Watchmen, The End is Nigh. Huge fan of Watchmen, the movie, and the TV show. I think it's awesome. You play as either Night Owl or Rorschach, and it's a beat-em-up, like a 3D beat-em-up. But it's just kind of clunky and repetitive, and it gets really old. And then when I got this, I started playing it, and I got sick of it there, too. I was kind of like, I was playing through the first area, and it's just kind of like, it's the same combos. You don't really upgrade anything as you go. It's always the same freaking combo over and over again. I got kind of sick of it, and I put it down. I should probably just power through it and beat it and get it over with. Got a 3-day weekend. Maybe I'll just do that. This one has a freaking mammoth manual. Look how thick that thing is. We're talking Way of the Samurai 3. Another game I knew absolutely zilch about, and I found this at, I do believe, half-price books. And it looks like a open-world adventure action game. Your choices define you. How will you be remembered? Open-world adventure. Become a weapon master. Multiple endings. Oh, great. That's fantastic. But found that for dirt cheap, so I picked it up. This one I had back in the day. I rented it, and I thought it was pretty fun. And I thought it was kind of cool that this guy was kind of transitioning into being a video game developer, too, and being actively involved in the video games that he was making, because he's a movie star. He did a couple of games. Well, he did one game on the Xbox, which I loved. Made a sequel to that. They came out on the 360, which I liked too. And then this. We're talking The Wheelman, or just Wheelman. It's all about Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel made this studio called, what is it, Starbreeze? No, Tygon? Tygon. I think it's Tygon is his video game development company. They did the 2 Riddick games, which I thought were both really good, especially the first one. And then he did this one, which is like his, car racing action game, like the Transporter. And he voices the character. He gives his likeness to the character and all that. He doesn't say family every 5 minutes, which is nice. But I remember I rented this and I played it. I thought it was pretty fun, so I ended up getting a copy of my own. And I haven't gone back to play it, which is kind of shitty. But it does come with a map of the areas. It's kind of like an open worldy Grand Theft Auto game. Sorry, put that down. And you're playing in the Barcelona. So I know he gets a lot of hate because of the Fast and Furious movies. I enjoy them for being POSs that are super entertaining, just turn your brain off kind of movies. So absolutely had to have that, especially after those two Riddick games being pretty rad. Found this. I found this at the disc replay, and I was like, where's the first one? I know that there's a third one coming out, but where's the first one? All I see is the second one, and I hear the third one's coming out. Where is it? Turns out you can only play the first one on the PC, which kind of sucks. But that is Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings, the Enhanced Edition. So I think there's like a standard edition, and I got this big box version, which actually just has a bunch of DLC mixed into it. But this is by CD Projekt Red, people that do Cyberpunk 2077, and it's an open world RPG. And I need to play these games. I hear the third one, Wild Hunt, is absolutely fantastic. But the big thing that this comes with that makes it like that special edition is this quest handbook, which I guess just spells out the way the game works and how to play it and stuff. Yeah, it's like an explanation of how to play what to do. It basically tells you how to play the game, what you have to do. But it also has this weird. Oh, this doesn't have anything to do with it. Oh, I guess somebody put like a movie. Somebody bought the Family Guy It's a Trap on Blu-ray or whatever, and this is the directions on how to download the digital version. It even has the code still on. Somebody stuck it in here. That's funny. Shows you how much I've actually opened this up. No, that doesn't go in there. But it has 3 discs. Yeah, one of them is 2 games, 2 discs for the game, and 1 disc based on, or just for the soundtrack. So I need to play those at some point. That goes up there. Getting close to the end, everybody. Next up, we have the reboot of Wolfenstein. I absolutely love my first-person shooters, so I had to get this, even though I hear it's not the greatest game in the franchise, but I got this dirt freaking cheap. Ooh, and I got an unlock for the flamethrower. I'm guaranteeing that code is no longer valid. But gotta love my first-person shooters, and they've continued this franchise. It's still going on. Then there's this. So we're talking about the Rock Band and all that. I got this with a magazine. What magazine is this? Hang on a second. Xbox Official Magazine. Yeah, Xbox Official Magazine. So I remember I went to the grocery store one night after work at my old apartment. You know, this is the time when we're having all the Rock Band parties and everything. And I walk through the magazine area, and it just catches my eye because Rock Band was all over the front of the magazine. And I knew that these magazines came with demo discs. So I pick it up, and I see it's like one of the ones that comes bagged. And sure enough, it has a demo in it with 3 exclusive songs on this demo disc. And the songs are... Where are they? Oh, it doesn't say. It just says 3 exclusive Rock Band songs. Well, turns out one of them is by this band called... Oh, shit. What are they called? The song is called Let's Talk More Rock. Hang on one second here. I'm going to look it up real quick. Why am I hitting my internet button? I'm already on the internet doing this. Nope. Stay on page. What am I doing? I'm being stupid right now. I'm so tired. The coughing keeps me up all night long. Give me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. Who's still here, by the way? TJ, Peter, J-Chip, Mondane? Man Boy Cave? Who's here? Come on, you can do it, computer. You can do it. You can do more than one thing at once. My computer's being stupid. The song is called Let's Talk. Oh, Freeze Pop. It's right on the front. If it was snake, it would have bit me. Sorry, the song on this one is called Sprode. It says, including Freeze Pop's Sprode. They eventually released another song of theirs called Let's Talk More Rock. That got more play. But the thing is, Sprode is such a stupid song. It is stupid. Like the whole chorus is "You're super Sprode," and that's it. And it's like the girl who's the front man, the woman who's the front man. She barely sings. She just kind of talks. It's like, yeah, I talk like this. It's kind of a little bit musical, but this is how I sing, just like this. And it's like she's flat and like she has like no, what do they call it when you're like you have no tone? Oh God, I cannot think right now. I'm so brain dead. Oh man, she can't sing. How about that? But the song, the music from the song was so catchy that the people that I was with the night that we had the party, where I was like, hey, I got a couple new songs we could try out. We played Sprode like 8 times in a row, over and over and over again, because it was like one of those things that was so bad it was kind of good. We're all like really just enjoying ourselves playing this craptastic song. And like at work, and it was some of the people from work that I was talking about earlier. I'd go to work the next day or Monday or whatever it was, because usually I had my parties on Friday night. Like we go to work on Monday and people walk past me in the hallway and go like, "You're super Sprode." I'd be like, okay. Jesus. You can get songs for Rock Band from the weirdest places. But I'm glad that caught my eye at the grocery store that night, because I would never have learned about that band. Next up we have X3 or X-Men 3, the official game. This is the game that's supposedly based on The Last Stand, the third X-Men movie, which I did not like at all. I have not played it, but it looks like a 3D beat 'em up kind of game. It looks kind of terrible if you ask me. Yay. But picked it up because licensed games, and I hear that the one that I have on the Game Boy Advance, which is by Way Forward, is actually pretty good. So picked that up because it was dirt cheap. And then there's this. I hate this movie, but it is odd how much better the game is when compared to the film, and that is X-Men Origins Wolverine. This is the Uncaged edition. This is still my original copy from back in the day when I bought it. And I hate this film. I hate it. It is so bad. I think it is so bad. Unfinished effects. It's dumb. But I bought the game because all the reviews I was reading said that this game is actually kind of fantastic. Forget the movie. The game is great. So I picked up a used copy at a GameStop, and I remember playing it, and I beat it when I was unemployed. This was one of those games where I was like, I've been sitting on this game forever. Let's do it. And I played through it, and that last fight with Weapon 11 is almost impossible. It is super freaking hard the way he's always teleporting around you and crap. But I finally beat it, and I was like, yay. Okay, now what? I've been putting all my energy into this. Now what? It's an awesome game, awesome 3D beat 'em up. It works so great. The whole rage thing where you jump at the screen. Oh, it's so cool. Love it, love it, love it. I was talking about this weekend, I think, with TJ, that there was a point in time where this game was really expensive, and I found it at GameStop. That is Young Justice Legacy. This is based on the cartoon that I absolutely loved. And this is also a 3D beat 'em up with the characters from the DC cartoon. And for some reason, this became really expensive for a little while. I don't know, a few years ago. And I remember I went to, this was okay, so at one point I went to visit my mother, and I think it was was it Black Friday? There was some kind of sale going on at the GameStop by her house. And I remember she wanted to go grocery shopping, so I went grocery shopping with her. And then I was like, well, on the way back, let's stop at the GameStop. I want to see what they have on sale. I ended up getting 6 games. There was a bunch of Wii games and a couple of Xbox 360 games. And the guy that was running the register, all he was doing all night long was just running his mouth. Wasn't paying attention to what he was doing. he was just like, people were walking. He's like ringing somebody up, and he's talking to people that are walking in the place, going like, "Hey, how you doing? What's your name? My name is this." It's like, dude, just ring me the hell up. Just shut up. All he wanted to do was talk. Was not, like I said, was not paying attention to anything he was doing. So I got like these 6 games. Get back to my mom's house, help her put her groceries away, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going back home. I get back home, and I go to put my games on the shelf, and I open them up, and they're all empty. Like, there's no discs in any of them. The idiot was spending more time talking to people that weren't even in line to buy anything. And there was a line of people, too. Like, he was just wasting time. People were getting pissed off that he was wasting time, that he didn't even put the damn games in my the cases. So I remember I had to go drive all the way back out to the burbs, which is like a 40-minute drive for me, go back to that GameStop, and the manager was there when I got there. And I walk up, and I just plop this stack of games on the counter, and just kind of like drop them on the counter. And he goes, "Can I help you?" I'm like, "Yeah, your idiot employee last night was spending so much time talking to everyone in the store instead of paying attention to what he was doing that he basically didn't put any of the games that I bought in the cases. So I had to drive all the way back out here from fucking Chicago in order to get these things." I'm like, "Give me my goddamn games." And the guy goes, "Do you have your receipt?" And I go, "Yeah." And I show him the receipt. And he looks at the person's name who rang up. He goes, "Oh, Jeff." And then just goes and puts all the games in the cases and just hands it back to me. I'm like, "That's it? I drive all the way out from Chicago, and that's all I get is "Oh, Jeff," and that's it." I'm like, how much gas I wasted? Because now I got to drive back to Chicago. And he goes, "Want a free comic book?" And which they were giving out for free to everybody anyway. There was one free comic book. I was like, just give me I'm never coming back here again. Pissed me off so much. And by the way, F you, Jeff. And the last game I'm going to talk about, I found randomly. I don't remember where. It might have been at Half Price Books or the Disc Replay, but I remember Felix the Brett, my buddy that I keep talking about, saw my weekly, game edition picture that I usually put on my social media. He saw this game in the picture, and he was just like, "What the hell is that? Where did that come from, and what is it?" This thing called Zoid's Assault, and I had never heard of it before, but it's like a mech game. It's like a mech fighting game, mech action game by Atlas. And since it's got Tomy attached, I'm assuming it's based on some kind of a Japanese toy line, but I can't be positive. Never heard of it before. I've never seen it since. I never saw it before this. So this might be something that's kind of uncommon, and I got it like dirt freaking cheap. But I still haven't played it yet, so I don't know if it's any good or not. But even he was like, he's seen everything because like I said, he owns like a store. And he's like, "What is that? I've never seen or heard of that before." I'm like, But I like mechs, and I like action games, and I like video games. So, of course, I picked it up because it was dirt cheap. It was a kids' TV show? Yeah, I had no clue. But anyway, yeah, that's it for the Xbox 360 stream tonight, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. This did end up going a little bit long. I said at the beginning that I thought this was going to go kind of long because there was more games to talk about because of that extra section of shelving I have for the 360 stuff. But I'll be back tomorrow with another short. I'll probably release that around, I don't know, 1-ish, noon or 1 Central, whenever I get a chance at work to actually do something. I'll upload it. And it's going to be another standard. I might film some new ones tomorrow after work. There's some new things I want to start doing now that I've rebranded the channel. So you're going to see some new style shorts and stuff like that. So that's going to be kind of fun for me. I don't know. Hopefully you all like it. So I'll be back next Thursday with another Video Game Collection 2023 live stream. It'll probably be starting off with my PlayStation 3 collection, which is my preferred console during this generation. Even though I have all these Xbox 360 games, my PS3 is the one that I ended up gravitating toward all the time. So we'll get into that next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central. New short tomorrow. And I will talk to you then. So until next Thursday, everyone, have a good night. Stay safe out there. Chris, the old-ass retro gamer. Yeah, I said it. I'm still getting used to it. Chris from Midwest. I said it. Midwest also. God damn it. I knew it was going to be a problem. I really did. Chris from Midlife Crisis Media signing off.